Okay, story time. 2 nights ago, I watched Game 3 of the NBA Finals. About a minute into the fourth, I passed out, thinking that the Cavs won. And when I woke up the next day, I checked the box score, and I came to the conclusion that the NBA doesn't only have two legitimate contenders, it only has one. The Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant are light years better than the Cavs on their best day. And let's just dispel the idea that the Cavs are stacked. Yes, they are a super team, but they're not stacked. What I mean is, any team with LeBron James is a super team. The Nets with LeBron James would be a super team and a top 3 seed in the East and would make it to the finals. LeBron being on the roster automatically makes it a super team. Outside of LeBron, there's obviously Kyrie Irving, definitely a top 20 player, probably top 15. Then there is Kevin Love, who is probably top 30-ish. And after that, there's Tristan Thompson, whose final stats say all you need to know about his usefulness. And then there's shooters like J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, and Channing Frye. Their roster without LeBron wouldn't even make a top 12 seed. So as much as we hate super teams, the fact is, the Warriors are going to be one for at least the next 4 years. So the East needs a super team on their side to at least make the finals interesting to watch. The Cavs need to get better if there's any hope that the Warriors don't win 5 straight championships. So first of all, someone hire a garbage man to get Tristan Thompson the hell out of Cleveland. He's been good for them up until this series, but that doesn't matter. How players perform against anyone besides for the Warriors is completely irrelevant. That's the same reason the Cavs need to trade Kevin Love. He's not necessarily bad versus the Warriors, but he needs to be better, and he hasn't been. They also have to get rid of Iman Shumpert and Channing Frye for more cap space. I don't know how you get these players off the roster, but I'm sure GM LeBron will find a way. Also, the idea that the Cavs should sign Dwayne Wade isn't really all that true. If he came off the bench for $8 to $10 million a year, sure. But I will tell you as a Bulls fan that Wade won't contribute a lot towards winning, and if he was on the Cavs, he would need to be on the bench, because LeBron needs to be surrounded by at least 3 shooters at all time, and Dwayne Wade is not that. So off of the bench, sure, but Dwayne Wade isn't nearly enough. Now, as for replacing Kevin Love, I've noticed a trend with LeBron with Chris Bosh and Love as teammates. Playing alongside LeBron, they both were really just reduced down to stretch 4s. So instead of forcing star power forwards to be stretch 4s, how about just sign a stretch 4? And before I get to who, let me also mention that the Cavaliers' biggest problem is defense. Another reason why Dwayne Wade won't help them. So they need a defender. Back to the said 4, Serge Ibaka is the best candidate. He's a great pick and roll defender and shot blocker, so when Draymond Green is going to the rim, Ibaka can shut it down. And when Durant is going inside for a dunk, he can send it back. And last season, Ibaka shot 39% from 3, so he fits the stretch 4 role. If that doesn't work out, maybe Paul Millsap, but he's a risk. His 3 ball isn't nearly as good, and he's old, and he will ask for more money than Ibaka. For the center spot, I'd go all in on defense. The Spurs this year had a backup center by the name of Dwayne Dedmon, who was fantastic on defense. Now at face value, his stats are pretty meh, as he only averaged 5 points, 6.5 boards, and 0.8 blocks. But that's in only 17 minutes a game. But when looking at his per 36 stat, if he got the minutes, he'd average 10.5 points, 13.4 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks. About what Tristan Thompson produces for less money and much better defense. And hopefully he would actually perform versus the Warriors. And at the 2, I think J.R. Smith needs to go back to being a bench player. With Shumpert gone, that spot should be open, and the guy to replace him, J.J. Redick. J.J. has mentioned that he is kind of unhappy with the Clippers front office, and he will probably be in another team's jersey next season. And if the money is there, I don't think J.J. could find a better spot than Cleveland, as it must be a shooter's dream to play with LeBron James. And competing for a championship is also pretty fun. Also for the bench, I'd look at Patrick Patterson at the 4, another defensive stretch 4 who will be fairly cheap. And for the backup point guard, I'd look at Darren Collison. A very efficient, do-no-wrong point guard who's just all-around solid. And finally, I'd sign Thabo Sefolosha. The biggest difference for LeBron in this finals versus last year is he was guarding Harrison Barnes last year, and this year guarding KD, he's running out of energy for the offense. So the Cavs need a defender to allow LeBron to carry the offense. Now, talking about all these signings is one thing, but I did the math, and if the Cavs got rid of the players that I mentioned early on, they would have roughly $61 million in cap. I say roughly because where the salary cap is constantly up in the air. So with about 61-ish million, I predicted roughly what the free agents mentioned would ask for, and that salary is about 62 million. So it's a tight fit, but it would make the Cavs infinitely better. A starting lineup of Kyrie Irving as a scorer, JJ Redick as a fantastic shooter and okay defender, LeBron James, who this whole damn video is basically about, Serge Ibaka, who can hit an open jumper and play defense in the paint and in the perimeter with his lateral quickness, Dwayne Dedmon, who I promise would be a massive surprise next season as a shot blocker, and he also shot 66% at the basket this season. Off of the bench, Darren Collison, an efficient playmaker and capable shooter and defender, J.R. Smith, the shooter and notorious scooter driver, Thabo Sefolosha, a great 3-and-D player, Patrick Patterson, another 3-and-D player, and at the center they could bring back Larry Sanders or just go with Walter Traves. These signings will do just enough for the Cavs that I wouldn't be too afraid to bet money on them winning next year. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.
I dare you play your cards, boy, you bet I'm a trendsetter too. Fire when the strobe hits you.
That's it, Brian?